Good morning and thank you for joining us on a Monday edition of TVC Breakfast. I'm Veronica Danik Boy. Joining me this morning is Theophilus Ilama. Theo, good morning.
Good morning and thanks for having me this morning.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful Monday morning and we have an array of issues we will be looking at today, and definitely taking center stage is the president's speech addressing the protesters and their demands. So we will be looking at that from various angles. So let's begin with that story where the president has appealed to agitators, or protesters rather, to suspend the nationwide protest and pave the way for his government's developmental plans to materialize. The president also commiserated with the families of those who died in parts of the country. State House correspondent Femi Akonde has details.
President Bola Tinubu speaks after 3 days of nationwide protests that turned violent in some parts of the country. He acknowledged the legitimate cause of the protest, but he is saddened by the deaths recorded and destruction of property that has clearly set back the country.
I commiserate with the families and relations of those who have died in the protest. We must stop further bloodshed, violence and destruction.
As Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Bola Tinubu insists he has a constitutional duty to ensure order and has called on protesters to suspend all demonstrations.
I hereby enjoin protesters and the organizers to suspend any further protest and create room for dialogue, which I have always acceded to at the slightest opportunity.
In his state broadcast, President Tinubu painted a picture of the state of the nation. He talked about how his administration has worked hard in the interest of the country by pulling the economy up from a near collapse to a stage of growth and recovery.
Last month, we increased our oil production to 1.61 million barrels per day, and our gas assets are receiving the attention they deserve. Investors are coming back, and we have already seen 2 foreign direct investments signed, over $500 million since then.
The president announced that the debt burden on the country is becoming lighter, with about 68% of revenue spent on debt service, compared to 97% when he assumed office 14 months ago. Also, revenue generation has significantly improved within this period.
On the fiscal side, aggregate government revenue has more than doubled, hitting over 9.1 trillion naira in the first half of 2024, compared to the first half of 2023, due to our efforts at blocking leakages, introducing automation, and mobilizing funds creatively without additional burden on the people.
Nigeria's oil and gas sector, which for now is still the mainstay of the economy, is showing signs of growth as the administration is gradually ramping up daily production of crude oil. President Tinubu says attention has been shifted to exploring the potentials and opportunities provided by the country's abundant gas resources through the implementation of the Compressed Natural Gas Initiative to power the transportation economy and bring down costs.
We have started the distribution of conversion kits and setting up of conversion centers across the country in conjunction with the private sector. We believe that this CNG initiative will reduce transportation costs by approximately 60% and help to curb inflation.
President Tinubu urged youth that make up a significant fraction of the country's population to take advantage of programs and policies specifically targeted at meeting their growing demands.
We have introduced the Skill Up Artisans Program, SUPER, the Nigerian Youth Academy, NIA, and the National Youth Talent Export Program, NATEP.
Also, medium and small-scale enterprises have been given a lifeline that has created more than 240,000 jobs. And large manufacturers are getting single-digit credit to boost productivity.
75,000 beneficiaries have processed to receive our 1 million micro and small business single-digit interest loans starting this month. We have also built 10 MSME hubs.
President Tinubu's administration have always said food security is a priority, and efforts are also strengthened in collaboration with the subnational governments to improve the food value chain and also empower farmers across the country.
We are providing incentives to farmers to increase food production at affordable prices. I have directed that tariffs and other import duties should be removed on rice, wheat, maize, sorghum, and drugs, and other pharmaceutical medical supplies for the next 6 months.
In all these, President Tinubu hopes citizens will show understanding despite their genuine pain and frustration that triggered nationwide protests. But he also urged security agencies to continue to maintain peace, law, and order. For Nigerians, they wait to see in the coming days as government's programs and policies will begin to meaningfully impact on their lives and livelihood. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
Right. The citizens demanded that they wanted to hear from the president, and now the president has spoken, and that has been the conversation. Be it on social media, everywhere you turn, people analyzing the speech. But for many, what stood out for them is the fact that the president said he has heard the youth loud and clear.
Yeah.
And also, acknowledging the fact that some persons, lost their lives in the course of the protests, commiserating with families. That in particular, a lot of persons, loved that moment. But hearing loud and clear, I wonder if young persons have really understood what the president meant by saying he heard them loud and clear.
I believe they've understood what he has said, it's happened that after the speech in Lagos, the protesters came together and had a discussion. From what I heard and saw some videos, they came together and said, okay, excuse me, since the president has spoken, let's sheath the swords here and go back for negotiations. And that's quite commendable, even as the fact that I particularly covered the protest in Lagos, and it was quite peaceful. And so, seeing that the president has said that he understands the plight, and he also reeled out what the administration is doing to help the economy, to help young people thrive. It's quite important, and it really resonates with the young people. And so these are some of the key takeaways that we have seen in this administration. The president said he's also always ready for dialogue, and we have seen that with the discussions with the NLC on the minimum wage, and for this one as well. If they decide to dialogue with the president, he will give them a listening ear, definitely, since we have seen it in several fora and several meetings he had with Labour and individuals. Even without having meetings with Labour, he has also heard the cries of Nigerians on several fronts when they speak on social media and all of that. So we believe he's a listening president, and he will keep hearing and listening to Nigerians and keep understanding their plight and keep responding to their plight, and ensuring that the policies that the government is putting in place will definitely affect the nation positively.
Well, he talked about the programs by the government that are particularly targeted at the youth, and encourage youth to take advantage of it. Perhaps we need to quickly look through some of those programs that he mentioned. He talked about, of course, the NEL Fund, which has to do with the student loan scheme. And to date, he says 45.6 billion naira has already been processed for payments of students to students and their respective institutions. He also talked about the Consumer Credit Corporation with over 200 billion naira to help Nigerians acquire essential products with the need for immediate cash payments, making life easier for millions of households. So that is a critical one that I believe a lot of youth should look at taking advantage of. He also said that they secured $620 million under the Digital and Creative Enterprises, a program to empower young people, creating millions of IT and technical jobs. And we know what tech is like.
Yes, it's the new oil.
Yes, it's the new oil. And I was speaking with someone this morning, and he was talking about how well his brother was doing in terms of technology, getting a tech job, and how well that has improved his life. So I believe that young persons can also take advantage of that. Another one is the Skill Up Artisans Program, the Nigerian Youth Academy, and the National Youth Talent Export Program that students also can take advantage of. Not just students, but young people
as well,
who need to be gainfully employed, who need to express their talent one way or the other, but needs harnessing that talent. So that's a way for them to, get engaged as it is. That's what the president has said. I think that's some of the programs targeted at the youth.
Yes, a lot of these programs are targeted at the youth, and even those that are not directly targeted at the youth will also reach the youth. For instance, the 1 billion naira he has already earmarked for made to large manufacturers under the single-digit loans to boost manufacturing output and stimulate growth. Once that has come up really on stream, it will definitely affect everybody, and so the economy will get better for it, and things will begin to pick up from there.
Another one is the 1 million naira micro and small business single-digit interest loans. A lot of young persons, run their businesses, small businesses. So these kinds of loans are very important. How they can access it, I believe that if they go out there, they will get all the information they need to be able to access these loans and how it can benefit their businesses moving forward. Information is key. As much as possible, I think another aspect that must be talked about is, ministries that are handling some of these projects that involves both the youth or anyone, they have to begin to speak, communicate strategically in such a way that every Nigerian know what they are doing and how they can take advantage of the programs they are putting out there, be it for the youth, be it for businesses, be it for anyone as it is, so that Nigerians can, take advantage and run their businesses with it. Because at the end of the day, if you are not speaking and we do not know what is going on, you begin to hear get